Hello, and welcome to Open Doors Metropolitan Community Church from wherever or whenever you are. We are a community seeking to live out the radically inclusive love of Jesus the Christ. We are part of two faith groups, the Progressive Christian Alliance and Metropolitan Community Churches. Please join us now for excerpts from the service held on Sunday, August 20th, 2017. We're continuing in our series At First Glance, and the theme of this sermon is Can't You See? And no, the resemblance to the Marshall Tucker song is not coincidental. Presiding and preaching is the Reverend Craig Bartlett.
We join in prayer. God, we are a people who strive with one another, but we remember
Joseph.
We remember Joseph, whose brothers threw him away, who forgave them and delivered them and his people. We remember Jacob and Esau, who fought in their mother's womb, who reconciled and buried their father together. But still, we strive against one another. Brothers and sisters strive against each other. Parents strive against children, and children strive against parents. We strive among races, among nations, among classes. We strive across the miles and across the ages. We strive in the Christian family. We strive in the human family. But Jesus prayed for our unity. God, in Jesus you have reconciled us to yourself and given us the ministry of reconciliation.
You have created one humanity.
You have broken down the dividing wall of hostility. You say there is neither Jew nor Greek, male nor female, slave nor free. You say, how good it is to dwell in unity. You say, there's plenty good room. You say, get on board. There's room for many more. You say, lay down your sword and shield down by the riverside and study war no more. Amen. The first reading is taken from the book of Genesis, chapter 45, the first 15 verses. In the ongoing saga of Abraham and his dysfunctional descendants, this is the story of Joseph's eventual reconciliation with his brothers. As is our custom, if there's someone who would be willing to read.
I'd be happy to.
Thank you.
When Joseph could no longer control himself before all those who stood by and cried out, "Send someone away from me. Go and stay with them." But Joseph made himself known to his brothers. He wept so loudly the Egyptians heard it, and the household of Pharaoh heard it. Joseph said to his brothers, "I am Joseph. Is my pregnant hunger, keep alive being bruised fibers. So it was not you who sent me here, but God, who made me follow to the Pharaoh of the land's house, and you were overthrown in Egypt. Hurry and go to my father and say to him, thus says your son Joseph, God has made you Lord of all Egypt, come down to me, do not be delayed. You shall settle in the land of Cush, and you shall rear me, and your children and your children's children, as well as your flocks, your birds, and all that you have. I will provide for you there, since there are 5 more years of famine to come, so you and your household and all that you have will not come to poverty. And now your eyes and the eyes of my brother Benjamin see, at least my own mouth speaks to you. You must tell my father how greatly I am honored in Egypt, and all you have seen, hurry and bring my father down here. And then he fell upon his brother Benjamin, neck and wept, and Benjamin wept on his neck. And he kissed all his brothers and wept upon them, and after that the brothers talked.
The psalm is a short psalm today, Psalm 133. Back, yeah. And the paraphrase is by Dale Schoening, and the tune is from Ode to Joy, which you may know as the hymn Joyful, Joyful, Be Worthy. You'll hear it once through before.
When kin dwell in unity, it is as if God anointed Aaron's head with precious oil, running down his fragrant collar like the dew on Zion's hill. There the Lord commanded blessing, giving life forevermore.
Sorry, I thought I extended that note in between the intro and the verse to give us a chance to get our breath, but sorry. Okay. Second reading is from Romans. It's Paul's letter to the Romans, the 11th chapter, reading the first verse and the first part of verse 2, and then verses 29 to 32. If we have a volunteer to read. Okay, thank you, Jason.
로마서 11장 1절에서 2절, 20절에서 22절. 그러면 내가 묻습니다. 하나님께서 다시 백성을 버리신 것은 아닙니까? 그럴 수 없습니다. 나도 이스라엘 사람이요 아브라함의 후손이요 베냐민 지파에 속한 사람입니다. 하나님께서는 미리 아신 자기 백성을 버리시지 않으셨습니다. 하나님께서 주시는 고마운 선물과 보충은 소외되지 않습니다. 저희 하나님께 순종하지 않던 여러분이 이제 이스라엘 사람의 불순종 때문에 하나님의 자비를 입게 되었습니다. 이와 같이 지금은 순종하지 않고 있는 이스라엘 사람들도 여러분이 맡은 그 자비를 보고 회개하여 마침내는 자비하심을 얻게 된 것입니다. 하나님께서 모든 사람을 순종하지 않는 상태에 가두신 것은 그들에게 자비를 베푸시려는 것입니다.
The Gospel is from the Gospel according to Matthew, 15th chapter, reading the 21st to the 28th verses. Jesus left that place and went away to the district of Tyre and Sidon. Just then, a Canaanite woman from that region came out and started shouting, "Have mercy on me, Lord, Son of David! My daughter is tormented by a demon." But he did not answer her at all. And his disciples came and urged him, saying, "Send her away, for she keeps shouting after us." He answered, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." But she came and knelt before him, saying, "Lord, help me." He answered, "It is not fair to take the children's food and throw it away to the dogs." She said, "Yes, Lord, yet even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from their master's table." Then Jesus answered her, "Woman, great is your faith. Let it be done for you as you wish." And her daughter was healed instantly. God, may I never lightly presume to preach your word, and may we never lightly presume to hear it. Your word is light and life. For the title of today's sermon, I borrowed the title of a song from the Southern rock band, the Marshall Tucker Band. It was a song from their first album, and it's the first song that got noticed in popular music circles, and as you can figure out, the name of the song is "Can't You See?" Now, if you put aside the wounded male pride and the veiled misogyny, can't you see what that woman, she's been doing to me? You can get a sense of the worthlessness the main character feels in the song as a result of his broken relationship. I'm going to take a freight train down at the station now. I don't care which way it goes. I'm going to find a mountain, the highest mountain, going to jump off. Ain't nobody going to know. I'm going to find me a hole in the wall. I'm going to crawl inside and die. I'm going to buy a ticket down at the station, and I ain't never coming back. I'm going to take a southbound all the way to Georgia, Lord, till the train runs out of track. This is a portrait of a man who's coping as best as he can on the outside, but on the inside he's hurting big time. He cries out to the world, "Can't you see?" One of my music heroes from Canada, Matt Minglewood, who was from Cape Breton Island, Nova Scotia, took that song and he kind of localized it when he performed it, because he had this spoken word story at the beginning. It's like, this song is about loneliness. It talks about a guy from Cape Breton Island who moves out to where all the money is in Alberta and gets himself a job and finds himself a relationship, and then relationship and that, and then one day he gets the note which says, "Dear John, I'm gone." And his life just crumbles all around him. Can't you see? Indeed. The surviving 11 sons of Jacob, Israel, or at least they thought they were the surviving ones, couldn't see. In the story, they went cap in hand to Egypt for some food aid during a drought famine. But who should they be dealing with but their long-lost brother Joseph, the one whom they had abandoned and staged a bloody death for? the one who went into slavery but eventually proved himself to be of such great value to the Pharaoh of Egypt, he rose up the ranks of the Egyptian civil service. But perhaps the brothers are too busy with their eyes to the ground, groveling because they're unable to identify this senior advisor. They don't know who this senior advisor in Pharaoh's coterie is. And Joseph has to scream and weep and wail, and he has to shout out to his brothers, "Can't you see?" And a foreign woman comes to Jesus while he's trying to have a little get away from it all break. She won't leave him until she gets healing for her child. The disciples ask Jesus to send her away, and Jesus claims that his is an exclusive ministry, and finally equates her with one of the great insults of Eastern and Semitic cultures, equating her with a dog. And she says, "Can't you see I am a person in need?" Just in preparation for this, I decided to do a little bit of wordplay. If you substitute the word Canaanite for Jew and Jew for Christian, you could easily put the speech of Shylock from The Merchant of Venice on her lips. Hath not a Canaanite eyes? Hath not a Canaanite hands, organs, dimensions, senses, affections, passions, fed with the same food, hurt with the same weapons, subject to the same diseases, healed by the same means, warmed and cooled by the same summer and winter as a Jew is? If you prick us, do we not bleed? If you tickle us, do we not laugh? If you poison us, do we not die? And if you wrong us, shall we not revenge? I don't know about you, but as I read this story, there's something within me that wants to scream at the disciples and at Jesus, "Can't you see?" Can't you see indeed? A lot of people are asking that question of others and of themselves these days. In light of the events at Charlottesville, North Carolina last weekend, many people are asking others and asking themselves, can't you see? Can't we see? The whole notion of the United States being a post-racial society has been blown out of the water. Racism, fascism, the desire to oppress and eliminate anything which is different is just as strong as ever. The only difference is that the White House, yes, no higher an office in the United States government than the White House itself, the president himself, is pouring its blessing, his blessing, all over it. And he's doubling down. He can't stop himself. He can't stop himself from going off script and talking about the violence on many sides. On many sides. And then when he gets challenged on it, he says, oh, there are many fine people among the protesters that came to Charlottesville. And you have very bad violent people on one side, and you have very bad violent people on the other side. Can't you see how white privilege has not gone away, but is rearing its ugly head yet once again? And we who live in this country must not kid ourselves either. Yes, the Republic of Korea has thrown out its corrupt reactionary president and voted for a new president who has done a lot of progressive things. However, the reactionaries have not gone away. They may have gone into hiding, but they haven't gone away. The conviction of a gay army officer has not been overturned. Same-sex couples are still looking at fleeing Korea to get married. That was brought up in the Korean Times this week, and interestingly enough, that article was picked up by no less than the South China Morning Post in Hong Kong. It was being noticed. And as we continue to see one of our colleagues, an affirming pastor, is being harassed over trumped-up charges of heresy, and the very church which started this whole harassment, it is doubling down. It's now looking at a resolution to be passed at its next General Assembly, which is coming up in just a couple of weeks. A resolution which calls on giving local church pastors the authority to evict sexual minority members from their congregations and deny them access to the sacraments and rites of the church. My God, even the Roman Catholic Church, which names homosexuality as an objective moral disorder, even they will not deny the Eucharist and baptism and confirmation to sexual minorities. And they can't see what's going on. Yesterday, I read in an article in News and Joy about this poll which the Yesugyo Jangohe Hapton, the Jesus Presbyterians as I love to call them, they did this poll, a survey of Korean society, and they said that over 70% of respondents view their church in a negative light. In a negative light. And they looked at their own church organization, and they found out that almost 30% of their congregations don't have Sunday schools. So they had this conference about it on Thursday. And they had these bigwigs they had one professor from one university somewhere, and they had a couple of pastors from their mega churches, bigwig pastors. And yes, they said a couple of nice things. Yes, small groups, we need small groups, and even within bigger churches, the small groups need to be like a local church. Yeah, there's some virtue in that. But when it gets down to the bare bones of it, when it gets down to the basics, what the hell were they talking about? One megachurch pastor says we have to stay involved in the social issues of our time. And what are the social issues of our time? We have to guard against those who are preaching neo-Marxism and trying to promote a socialist, a materialist socialism. Who do you think that's being aimed at? I think you can guess. And another church pastor said, oh, we have this great capital of joy and prayer and the Word of God. And he boasted about how he took 3,000 people up with him up Mount Chungye, wherever that is. Is that here in Seoul?
Yep.
Mount Chungye is in Seoul? Yeah. He went up and just like, I can imagine it sounding just like one of the pastors from the Pentecostal churches in Newfoundland. You know, he said, we went up to the top of the mountain and I prayed, oh God, open the gates of Chungye-san to your people, hallelujah. My God, can't you see? Can't you folks see why people view your church negatively? Can't you see it? So what to do? Well, the signs of what to do seem to me to be emerging in the new awakening which has occurred. That new awakening is happening in the emergence of Americans, most significantly, sons and daughters of the South, including people like the descendants of Robert E. Lee and Stonewall Jackson, prominent generals in the Confederate Army of the American Civil War. They have come out and risen publicly and said publicly that monuments to the Confederacy in American cities must come down and must be taken out of public places. More people are willing to talk about white privilege, about how white Americans need to take responsibility for the place of privilege they have in their nation and of how they got it. And they need to say more than just to say it's terrible. And that was the point of the comic satire that Tina Fey did on Saturday Night Live just recently. It's been all over the internet. People have been debating it and saying, "Oh no, this is terrible because she's just saying everyone should just go out and eat cake." But it was satire. It was satire mocking those who are privileged and saying, oh, how terrible it is, and going into whatever nervous reactions that they have, and yet doing nothing else. That's what it was about. And here, I am pleased to say that support continues to grow for our colleague the Reverend Imbora, not only within this nation, her community, the Gamlin community, has come out in full support of her. The Association of Women Pastors within the Presbyterian Church in the Republic of Korea have come out in support of her. I'm proud to say, and I don't think this is too much boasting, that we were probably the first church group to publicly come out in support of her in the letter that we published. And it's also happening internationally. Just this week, the Reverend Imbora got a letter from no less than the moderator of the United Church of Canada, the Right Reverend Jordan Cantwell, assuring her of the United Church of Canada's support in her ongoing struggle. So there are signs of the new awakening, that people are opening their eyes, they are beginning to see. And they realize that it's just not enough for them to see, it is more important for them to act. Now, for those who are unwilling to open their eyes, the strong hand of the law must be used. Even Martin Luther King, whom we hold up as a model of unconditional love and nonviolence and that, but even he saw the need of the law. In 1962, when he addressed Cornell College, he said, "It may be true that the law cannot make a man love me, that it can keep him from lynching me." And I think that's pretty important. But for those who aren't afraid to lift their heads, open their eyes, they will discover that relationships they thought were long since dead are alive again. They will realize that the beloved community is for everyone and that no one is excluded. They will realize that the power of love and healing knows no borders, no racial or ethnic barriers, no identity barriers of any kind. And in doing so, they will encounter the love of God made real in Jesus, whom we call Messiah. When Jesus spoke of a reimagined way of living and being, the conversations often went into mealtime. Jesus ate and conversed with the high and mighty, with the pious and the self-righteous, and with those considered outcasts and sinners. His table fellowship included everyone. He told stories that caused people to wonder and ask questions. He also welcomed opportunities to eat with those who disagreed with him and engaged them in open discussion. This way, issues of life and death, justice and injustice, conflict and peace, goodness and evil were made real to ordinary people. Jesus at a meal is a demonstration of his teaching. He urged his followers to include a wide variety of people in what he called the realm of God. He challenged them to be open to insights and understandings that come from honest, respectful dialogue among those who seek a worthy way of life. We are here to carry on this tradition of seeking for truth and recognizing goodness wherever they may be found. Therefore, everyone is invited and encouraged to share in this meal. So we join in the Eucharistic prayer. Christ is with us.
Now and always.
Let us lift our hearts.
We lift them to God.
Let us give thanks to our God.
It is right to give our thanks and praise.
Now, in the way humans have made certain things and certain actions holy across the ages, we offer this bread and this cup to one another.
This offering represents our lives, our desire for a world that increasingly reflects the words and ways of Jesus.
We are grateful for the words and ways of Jesus as they have been handed down to us from generation to generation by faithful followers and conscientious scholars.
We are grateful for the many records of Jesus' words and ways and for those who cared for them, copied them, studied them, interpreted them, and presented them for study and interpretation in our time.
Let us, in the Spirit of Jesus, welcome this knowledge and determine to use it as He would use it, in the service of justice and well-being for all persons, creatures, and things.
We welcome the new way of truth and seek a deeper wisdom about all that is known.
So we remember. Jesus took bread and blessed it, acknowledging with gratitude the hands that produced it and the earthly goodness that made it possible. Our tradition says He broke the bread and gave it to His followers in a spirit of devotion to the new community He wished to form. In the same way, we break this bread and share it with one another. We give thanks for this bread. Our tradition also says Jesus took a cup of wine and blessed it for the sense of joy and celebration wine can bring. So we lift and drink from this cup, celebrating the blessedness of our fellowship and this time together.
We celebrate together.
These are the gifts of God for the whole people of God, for those of many faiths and of none, and for the whole creation, which God says is good. Blessed is God forever. Amen. Come. All is now ready.
We've enjoyed sharing these worship excerpts with you, and we hope you'll find them helpful in your prayer and devotional life. Better yet, we hope you'll join us in our work and our ministry. All are welcome to join us. Age, race or ethnicity, sexual orientation, and gender identity are no barrier to joining us in our work and our ministry. This is what we mean by radically inclusive. We hope you'll join us in our new location at Space L in Myeodong, Gangbuk-gu in Seoul. Want to find out how to get there or get more information? Please check out our website at www.opendooorskorea.org. We hope to see you soon.